It was a sweltering afternoon in downtown Los Angeles when Marcus first saw her. The kind of day where the asphalt shimmers and people move slowly, seeking any scrap of shade. He was driving through the Arts District in his black Mercedes, windows down, when he spotted her on the corner of 5th and Spring. A girl with her hair tied up in a messy bun, wearing a simple white tank top and denim shorts, standing beside a small cart with a faded umbrella. She was selling ice cream. Marcus told his driver to pull over. Something about her caught his attention. Maybe it was the way she smiled at every customer, genuinely happy, even though her cart was old and her setup looked barely profitable. He watched her for a moment, leaning against his car. She handed a strawberry cone to a little boy, ruffled his hair, and laughed at something his mother said. There was a lightness about her that seemed impossible in this city. He walked over, hands in his pockets. She looked up as he approached, and her smile widened. Her name tag read Maya. "How much for all of it?" Marcus asked, nodding toward her cart. Maya blinked, confused. "All of what?" "Everything. Every flavor. I'll buy it all." She laughed, thinking he was joking. "Sir, I have 12 tubs here. That's a lot of ice cream for one person." "I'm serious," Marcus said, pulling out his wallet. "Name your price. I'll take everything." The smile faded from Maya's face as she realized he wasn't kidding. "Why would you do that?" "Because you're done here. No more selling ice cream on the street." His tone was casual, like he was ordering coffee. Maya's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me? I'm saying you don't need to be out here anymore. I'll buy your entire inventory, and you stop this. Today." For a moment, Maya just stared at him. Then she understood. This wasn't kindness. This was control. She could see it in his expensive watch, his confident stance, the way he expected her to simply obey. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Her voice was sharp now, cutting through the afternoon heat. "You don't get to tell me what to do." Marcus raised an eyebrow, surprised. People didn't usually talk to him like that. "I'm offering you an opportunity," he said calmly. "I didn't ask for one," Maya shot back. "I like what I do. I make people happy. I make enough to live. I don't need your money or your permission." She stepped closer, pointing at him. "Take whatever ice cream you want and leave me alone." Marcus didn't move. He wasn't used to rejection. He gestured to 2 men who'd been standing by his car, and they approached. Maya tensed. "Don't touch her," Marcus said to them. "Just the cart. Take it." "What?" "No." Maya tried to block them, but they were efficient, professional. Within minutes, they'd loaded her entire cart, umbrella and all, into a truck. Maya stood there, furious and helpless, watching her livelihood disappear. Marcus pulled out a business card and held it out to her. "Come see me tomorrow. I have a job for you. Better pay. Better life." Maya slapped the card out of his hand. "I don't want your job. I don't want anything from you." "You will," Marcus said quietly and walked back to his car. That night, Maya sat in her small studio apartment, staring at the ceiling. She was angry, yes, but she was also scared. She'd saved for months to buy that cart. It was her independence, her freedom. And some stranger had just taken it like it meant nothing. The next morning, she went looking for him. Not because she wanted his job, but because she needed answers. Who was this man who thought he could control people's lives? She found the business card on the sidewalk where it had fallen. The address led her to a sleek office building in the financial district. When she walked in, the receptionist looked surprised. "Do you have an appointment? Tell Marcus that Maya is here. The ice cream girl." 5 minutes later, she was in his office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Everything was expensive, polished, perfect. Marcus sat behind a massive desk, looking unsurprised to see her. "I knew you'd come," he said. "Give me back my cart." No. Maya's fists clenched. Then give me the money for it. Every dollar it's worth. Marcus stood and walked around his desk. I'll give you something better. Work for me. Be my assistant. I need someone who isn't afraid to tell me the truth. You'll make more in a week than you did in 6 months selling ice cream. I don't want to work for you, Maya said. You're a bully. You take what you want and don't care who you hurt. I'm a businessman, Marcus corrected. And I'm offering you a real chance. At what? Being controlled by you? No thanks. She turned to leave. Maya. His voice stopped her. There are 40 other vendors on that street. Food trucks, candy sellers, hot dog stands. Why do you think I chose you? She turned back suspicious. Why? Because you're different. You don't need the money like they do. You do it because you love it. That's rare. He paused. I want to help you. By destroying what I built. Maya shook her head. That's not help. That's control. She left, slamming the door behind her. But Marcus wasn't done. Over the next week, Maya found herself running into him everywhere. At her favorite coffee shop. At the grocery store. Outside her apartment building. It wasn't coincidence. He was following her, learning about her, trying to understand her. Stop stalking me, she finally said when she caught him waiting outside her yoga class. I'm not stalking. I'm persistent. He held up a bag. I brought you something. Against her better judgment, she looked inside. It was a brand new cart. Better than her old one. Stainless steel, with a proper freezer and a sturdy umbrella. What is this? A peace offering. I shouldn't have taken your cart. That was wrong. It was the closest to an apology she'd heard from him. But I meant what I said. You're wasting your potential out there. Maya looked at the cart, then at him. You really don't understand, do you? I'm not wasting anything. I'm happy. I live in my own place. I pay my own bills. I don't answer to anyone. That's freedom. Something shifted in Marcus's face. Maybe it was the word freedom. Maybe it was the way she said it, like it was the most valuable thing in the world. He'd had money his entire adult life, but he'd never had that. Not really. Teach me, he said suddenly. Teach you what? How to be happy like that. How to not need all this. He gestured vaguely at everything around them, his car, his watch, his life. Maya studied him for a long moment. Then she laughed, but it wasn't cruel. You're serious? I am. Fine. But I have conditions. You leave my business alone. You don't interfere with my life. And if I'm teaching you, you do what I say. No exceptions. Marcus nodded. Deal. That's how it started. Maya went back to selling ice cream. But now Marcus would show up every few days, not to buy her out, but to help. At first, he was terrible at it. He didn't know how to talk to customers, didn't understand why people wanted different flavors, got frustrated when the ice cream melted too fast. But slowly something changed. He started to enjoy the simplicity of it. The way a kid's face lit up when they got their favorite flavor. The conversations with regulars. The rhythm of an honest day's work. Maya watched him transform. The arrogant businessman who thought money solved everything began to see the world differently. They'd sit together after she closed her cart, eating the leftover ice cream, and he'd tell her about his life. How he'd built his wealth through real estate and investments. How he'd always been good at making money but bad at everything else. What about you? He asked one evening. Why ice cream? Maya smiled. My grandmother used to make ice cream every Sunday. It was the one day of the week when everyone in our family was happy. No fighting, no stress. Just ice cream and laughter. When she died, I wanted to keep that feeling alive. So I started selling it. Every cone I sell, I like to think I'm giving someone a moment of happiness, just like she gave me. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something crack open in his chest. He'd spent years building walls, protecting himself, staying in control. But with Maya, those walls didn't work. "I think I'm falling in love with you," he said quietly. Maya didn't answer right away. She'd felt it too, the pull between them. But she was scared. Marcus, we're from different worlds. Maybe that's why it works. They started dating, carefully at first. Marcus took her to nice restaurants, but Maya preferred cooking together in her tiny apartment. He bought her expensive gifts, but she liked the flowers he picked from the park better. Slowly, he learned that love wasn't about grand gestures or control. It was about showing up, being present, caring about someone else's happiness as much as your own. For 2 months, everything was perfect. And then Maya noticed something odd. Marcus would disappear sometimes late at night. He'd get phone calls that made his face go hard. He'd count large amounts of cash in his apartment, always looking over his shoulder. One night, she confronted him. "What's going on, Marcus? Tell me the truth." He sat down, head in his hands. "I haven't been honest with you about everything." Maya's heart sank. "What do you mean?" "My real estate business, my investments. It's not all legal. I got involved with some people years ago, before I knew better. Loan sharks, money laundering. I've been trying to get out, but they own me. I owe them almost $2 million. If I don't pay, they'll kill me." Maya felt like the ground had disappeared beneath her. $2 million? Marcus, oh my God. I didn't want you to know. I thought I could fix it before you found out. He looked at her, and she saw real fear in his eyes. "I'm sorry. I should have told you from the beginning." Maya started crying, not just from fear, but from anger too. "How could you hide this? We're supposed to trust each other." I know, and I'm sorry. But Maya, I need to tell you something else." He took her hands. "Before I met you, I didn't care if I lived or died. I'd made my bed, and I was ready to lie in it. But now everything's different. You made me want to be better. You made me want to live." "Then let's fix this," Maya said, wiping her tears. "Together. We'll find a way." "There's no way," Marcus said hopelessly. "I don't have $2 million. I can't make it in time." But Maya was already thinking. "How much time do you have?" 6 months. "Then we have 6 months to figure it out." She stood up, pacing. "We'll sell everything. Your car, your watches, your apartment. We'll downsize. I'll help. We'll both work extra jobs. We'll do whatever it takes." Marcus stared at her. "You'd do that? For me? I love you, you idiot." "Of course I would." What followed were the hardest 6 months of their lives. Marcus sold his Mercedes, his Rolex collection, his designer clothes. He moved into Maya's tiny studio. They lived on rice and beans. Maya worked double shifts with her cart while Marcus took a job in construction. Manual labor that left him exhausted and sore. But every night, they'd count their savings together, watching the numbers slowly grow. Maya reached out to her family, who she'd been estranged from, and borrowed money. Marcus sold his office building. They ran fundraisers, sold everything they owned. Friends Maya had made on the street contributed what they could. The community rallied around them. It wasn't enough. With 2 weeks to go, they were still $300,000 short. Marcus sat on the floor of the apartment, defeated. "We're not going to make it." "Yes, we are," Maya said firmly. But even she didn't know how. Then Marcus had an idea. He called in every favor he'd ever earned, every business contact, every person who owed him something. He promised them future work, future opportunities, anything they wanted. And slowly, incredibly, the money came in. Old friends wired transfers. Former business partners sent checks. People he'd helped years ago came through. On the last day of the deadline, they had it. All $2 million. Marcus met with the loan sharks in a warehouse by the docks, Maya by his side. She'd insisted on coming, refused to let him go alone. "You're late," the lead shark said, a man named Vincent with cold eyes. "But I'm here." Marcus set down a duffel bag. "It's all there. Every dollar plus interest." Vincent counted it slowly, deliberately. When he finished, he nodded. "We're square then. But Marcus, if you ever need money again, don't come to me." "I won't," Marcus said. "I'm done with this life." Walking out of that warehouse, Maya and Marcus held hands so tightly their knuckles turned white. They'd survived. They'd actually survived. The next year was about rebuilding, but differently this time. Marcus didn't go back to his old business. Instead, he and Maya started something new together. They opened an ice cream shop, a real one, with tables and a kitchen. Maya created the flavors, Marcus handled the business side. But it was honest work, legal work, work that made them both happy. The shop became popular, known for its homemade ice cream and the love story behind it. People came from all over the city to taste Maya's creations and hear their story. Marcus would tell anyone who asked that he used to be rich, but now he was wealthy. There was a difference. 2 years after that day in the warehouse, Marcus proposed. Not with an expensive ring, but with one he'd made himself in a jewelry class Maya had convinced him to take. It was imperfect, slightly crooked, but it was real. Just like them. They got married in a small ceremony at the shop, surrounded by friends, family, and customers who'd become like family. Maya wore a simple white dress. Marcus cried when he saw her, not caring who noticed. Their wedding vows weren't fancy. Marcus promised to show up every day, to work hard, to be honest, to choose love over pride. Maya promised to challenge him, to keep him grounded, to remind him what mattered. As they cut their wedding cake, an ice cream cake of course, Maya leaned over and whispered, "Remember when you tried to buy all my ice cream?" Marcus laughed. "Worst business decision I ever made." "Best decision you ever made," Maya corrected. "You just didn't know it yet." He kissed her then, in front of everyone, and it tasted like strawberry ice cream and second chances. Years later, when people asked Marcus about his success, he'd tell them about the girl with the ice cream cart. How she'd taught him that real wealth wasn't about money or power. It was about freedom, honesty, and love. It was about finding someone who saw the best in you, even when you couldn't see it yourself. Their shop thrived. They opened 2 more locations. They hired people who needed second chances, just like Marcus had. They taught classes on making ice cream, building businesses, starting over. They had twins, a boy and a girl, who grew up knowing that their parents' love story started with their mother's courage and their father's willingness to change. On quiet nights after the shop closed, Marcus and Maya would sometimes sit in the original location, eating ice cream straight from the tub like they used to on the street corner. They'd talk about everything and nothing, their shoulders touching, completely comfortable in the silence. "Do you ever miss it?" Maya asked once. "The money, the power, the old life?" Marcus thought about it seriously, then shook his head. Not even for a second. That guy was rich, but he was empty. He had everything except what mattered. He looked at her. "You saved my life, Maya. In every way a person can be saved." "No," Maya said softly. "You saved yourself. I just showed you it was possible." They sat there together as the city lights flickered outside. 2 people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way. A man who'd had everything but happiness. A girl who'd had nothing but joy. Together, they'd built something real, something lasting, something worth more than any amount of money could buy. And every Sunday, without fail, they'd make ice cream together. Not to sell, just to make. Continuing Maya's grandmother's tradition, creating moments of happiness, teaching their children that the sweetest things in life aren't things at all. Marcus learned what Maya had known all along. That love isn't about control or possession. It's about partnership, trust, and choosing each other every single day. It's about being brave enough to change and humble enough to admit when you're wrong. It's about finding someone who makes you want to be better, not because they demand it, but because their goodness inspires you. The ice cream shop still stands today, a testament to their journey. Above the door, there's a sign that reads Maya's, but underneath in smaller letters it says, where everything changed. Customers think it refers to the ice cream. Only Marcus and Maya know it's about so much more. Sometimes late at night, Marcus would stand in the empty shop, remembering that first day. The arrogant man he used to be, so sure that money solved everything. So certain he could control the world. He tried to buy out a girl with an ice cream cart, thinking he was helping her. He'd had no idea she was the one who would save him. Maya would find him there sometimes, lost in thought, and she'd take his hand. No words needed. They both understood how rare and precious their story was. How easily it could have gone differently. How lucky they were to have found each other. Their love wasn't perfect. They argued sometimes. They struggled with money in the early years. They faced challenges raising their children. But they faced everything together, with honesty and commitment. And at the end of every hard day, they'd come back to each other, to the promise they'd made in that warehouse and again at their wedding. To choose love over everything else. To build something real. To be partners in the truest sense of the word. And whenever Marcus felt lost or overwhelmed, Maya would remind him of who he'd become. Not the man who tried to control everything, but the man who'd learned to let go. The man who'd discovered that true strength isn't about power over others, but power with someone you love. Their story spread beyond their neighborhood, inspiring others. People who'd made mistakes. People who thought they couldn't change. People who'd given up on love. Marcus and Maya showed them it was possible. That you could fall into darkness and still find your way back to the light. That the right person at the right time could change everything. The ice cream shop became more than a business. It became a symbol of hope, second chances, and the transformative power of love. And it all started with a girl who refused to be controlled, and a man who finally learned to surrender. In the end, Marcus didn't save Maya from the street. Maya saved Marcus from himself. And together, they saved each other, building a life sweeter than any ice cream they could ever create. A life built on truth, partnership, and a love that conquered everything, even a $2 million debt and a dangerous past. Their story proves that love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who makes you want to be better. Someone who sees your potential even when you can't. Someone who stands beside you through the darkness until you both find the light. And sometimes, just sometimes, that someone is a girl with an ice cream cart and a smile that can change your entire world.